Hello and welcome to the Rest is Football with me, Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer. We will have Micah Richards, but we're recording this on Sunday evening, and Micah is probably leaving the ground around now, and when he gets to his hotel, he's going to jump on. He was at the obviously at the Emirates watching Arsenal demolish Manchester City. We'll come to that game. We'll wait for Micah until we do that. So we'll probably put that at the end, see which team he actually really wanted to win. His two teams. And we'll discuss the other games that we've seen this weekend. Let's start with the other two Sunday matches, Alan. I mean, it wasn't the televised match, was it? Manchester United, Crystal Palace, which is probably just as well for Manchester United fans. Brilliant victory for Palace. 2 goals for Arteta, who's in real form. I think it's 6 goals in 5 games now. Palace have really rallied after a bad start to the season.
But that wasn't such a surprise, is it? For really, I mean, with Palace, what they can do, particularly, I think, in forward positions, and the way Man United sort of have to play at Old Trafford, I thought would have suited them with the pace that they've got. But yeah, I mean, he changed it around again, changed the team around, didn't he? I think he went in without real centre forward. I think he went with Bruno up top, which obviously didn't work. They had a couple of chances in the highlights that I've seen, but Palace were worthy of their win, and I still can see it getting worse at Old Trafford before it gets better still. But
you've said for a while now that you think Amorim's got a free hit.
Yeah.
Probably, but for how long?
Well, I think I think till the end of the season. So long as the worst doesn't happen, they get sucked into a relegation battle, which I don't see that happening. They'll have enough to get out to stay clear of that. But I would have hoped and thought that he would have had a clearer path by now in terms of who he wants, what he wants, and all of those things. And he's bringing in a couple of players. But he has to be given. I mean, you're never going to get a free pass. But I do believe that it's so bad there that you have to cut him some slack in what he wants to do and what he's trying to do. Taking a lot longer than probably he and everyone thought. But I think that's so because it's so deep-rooted, the problems in the club, that it's not going to be a quick fix, and he has to be given this transfer window, the rest of the season to try and do what he wants to do, and then the window in the summer to have a clear run at next season to get his team basically.
Yeah, I mean, he's being very stubborn, obviously, about the way he plays. He said that's how I do it. I'm not going to change. But you have to question that to a degree if it's not working and you haven't got the players to play that way, or do you just hope that they're patient enough to wait for him to get the signings in and the players that he believes can fulfill the potential in those particular positions?
Well, I think they have to be, because it's. I know that they won a couple of trophies under Ten Hag, but he had similar problems. I mean, I know they were certainly more competitive under Ten Hag, but he still had so many of the issues that Ruben Amorim is having with individual players, and basically with winning the amount of games that they feel as if they should be. So it's been a problem there for a while, and someone has to be given the amount of time to try and sort it out. And they've invested in him and what he wants to do and his beliefs, and they're allowing him to do that. And I think that is the right thing to do. In an ideal world, you try and make the changes and the tweaks that when you're winning games, but they're just not good enough. They're miles away from being competitive, particularly in the way he wants them to play.
Yeah, they haven't got the players across the board to do that. Brought in Patrick Dorgu from Lecce for around 25 million. He's a defender.
Yeah.
But they're also struggling to score goals. This is a difficult window anyway, isn't it, to bring too many players in, or Manchester City managed to bring in. Hasn't helped them yet. So Yeah, they're in the doldrums, Manchester United, and it's hard to see them coming out of it anytime soon.
Correct.
But it's another rebuild. But they had a big rebuild under Ten Hag, didn't they? They backed him to the hilt financially. Yeah. But at the moment, they look worse than they did under Ten Hag. So
agreed.
A long way. You need to be patient, man.
Well done, fans. Crystal Palace, by the way, because they're a dangerous team. Yeah,
they are. And they are a really good side, aren't they? They've got some good players, and they're starting to play, aren't they? Like they did at the end of last season. Well, they have done for quite some time now, and been really competitive in all the games that they've played, and they're tough opposition. Very
good. They've got some good players in that squad, and they'll not only cause Man United problems for the remainder of this season, but they'll cause some upsets as well.
A happier day for Spurs. Good win at Brentford, because it's not an easy place to play. I mean, it wasn't an exhilarating display from them, but they showed a little bit of character and personality. Got lucky a little bit. Well, it's a great delivery from Son, but for the own goal.
I don't think they'll care a jot what performance it was. Spurs, they needed a victory. They needed a tough performance, and with the back four that they had, they were always going to be up against it, particularly with the forward players. I mean, Brentford at home score a lot of goals. We know that, and they've got a very good record. So it was always going to be tough, even with a full strength team. Spurs going there, it was going to be tough. But with the team, and particularly the back four that they had to put out. That was a brilliant result, and it should set them up confidence-wise in a much better place for going into their second leg of the Carabao on Thursday evening, I think it is. Yep. Whether they've got enough, I mean, Liverpool are a different kettle of fish, but that
might give them a little bit of confidence going into that game, Alan.
Yeah,
a little bit of belief, which is so important in football.
They just needed a result. It didn't care. I don't think they're bothered about what performance, and they got the result, and they worked really hard, defended well, shut Brentford out, which not many teams have done this season. So it was a great result for Spurs.
Yeah, I thought Jed Spence was terrific, excellent performance.
Really good.
I was actually on the tube about 2-3 months ago. There was a woman and looked like her daughter, and it was a daughter in the end, sitting opposite me with Tottenham scarves on, and she said, "Oh, we're going to Tottenham my son might be playing." And it was Jed Spence's mother and sister, I believe. So
well, he was without. I thought he was man of the match. Thought he was absolutely outstanding. Yes, I watched that game, and he didn't do too many things wrong, if any at all. So he was superb.
Quite unusual display from Brentford in the fact that they were a little profligate in front of goal, because the one thing they have been deadly, haven't they, with Mbumo and Visser in particular, and Sade. They had quite a few chances, but couldn't put them away.
Yeah, they were shut out, and as you said, not many teams have done that this season. So well done, Spurs. It's a result they needed, and because it was always going to be a tough game, that particularly after playing in Europe on Thursday as well.
Big few days for Postecoglou, I think, getting through in the European competition, then getting this important result. And you know what football's like. If they'd somehow managed to go and get a draw at Anfield,
and
then all of a sudden everyone's going, there's no problems, all's rosy in the garden. And yes.
I suspect Liverpool will be a lot tougher than Brentford were this weekend.
No, I would imagine so. Let's shift our attention to yesterday's games. Did you were at St James's Park, Alan?
I was there. I was looking forward to a lovely, cosy weekend off. Going to St James's, expecting a win against Fulham. But it was another poor performance. Fulham thoroughly deserved it, I thought. I mean, Newcastle were just all right in the first half. They got their goal, Jacob Murphy. Great work by Gordon down the left-hand side and sticking the ball in. And Murphy tucked it away, and I thought, oh, here we go. But Fulham tweaked a little bit and came out with a lot more energy, bit more direct, few more diagonal balls in the second half, and they were the better team. And Newcastle, Isak hit the bar with one great effort in the second half, but other than that, there was very little response. And they were very flat. Really flat. It was a poor performance. But
they need that energy, Newcastle, don't they? That
yeah.
It's such an integral part.
Well, that's why I thought, once Newcastle got the first goal, I thought, here we go, that'll be it. It'll pick everyone, the team up, and they'll carry on and go and get 2 or 3 more. But it never happened. So you got to give great credit to Fulham for keeping them out and holding them at bay, and then really attacking them in the second half. And Marco Silva's changes worked. I mean, Jimenez wasn't happy when he got brought off. I was having a look at him when he came off, and his arms were in the air. But Muniz came on and got the winner. So the manager was proved right in the end. So good result for Fulham, and well deserved actually.
Yeah. I think that's 4 home defeats in the Premier League this season, Alan. I mean, it's normally for teams a really difficult place to go and get a result, St James's Park. And it was, even last season when they were up and down a little bit, they were particularly good at home and really struggled away from home. But it's weird how football twists, isn't it? Suddenly they seem to be more reliable away from home than perhaps at home. So does that worry you approaching the semi-final, the Carabao? I mean, you've got a 2-goal lead against Arsenal. Arsenal have just obviously had an incredible result against Manchester City. Yeah. So if Arsenal score first, it could get a bit twitchy for you.
Very twitchy. I've already said that to a couple of my pals. I said the one thing we don't want is Arsenal to score early, because I would bet the tension around the ground will be off the charts. But yeah, it definitely would concern me, because previous home game against Bournemouth, they got battered. They didn't deserve anything out of yesterday's game with Fulham. So, and another home game on Wednesday evening, a really, really important one. But they have got a 2-0 lead going into this one, which is slightly different. But I would. There's not going to be a question of are they going to be up for it, or the atmosphere or anything like that. So the atmosphere will be off the charts. But I think what is key is we must not concede an early goal.
It's one of those as well, isn't it? Right, we've got a 2-0 lead.
I know.
We are at home. Do we? Yeah. If you're going away from home, you're right, okay, we're going to sit, we'll counter a little bit. But when you're at home, it's hard to play that way. The crowd are behind you, want to get forward. Stick or twist, Al.
It's not Newcastle's game, that either, is it? Newcastle's game, when they're at their best, is full of energy, full of closing down, not giving the opposition any space, playing on the front foot, particularly at St James's Park down the hill. So yeah, it's it's not going to be straightforward on. I hope it is from a Newcastle point of view, but I don't see it being straightforward on Wednesday night.
Are you going?
I'm going on Wednesday night. Yeah, can't wait. I wouldn't care if Newcastle didn't win another game this season, but if they win 2, Wednesday night and the final, I'd be a happy man.
You need that trophy at that football club.
We do.
It's nuts how long it's been, isn't it?
70 years, man, a domestic trophy.
Wow.
70 years.
Even I wasn't born now.
1955. As you know, I don't like swearing, but fucking hell, come
on. What about Forest?
Oh
my goodness me! I mean, Brighton were a bit open, having a really bad day, but I mean, Forest were like, wow.
How to bounce back?
Especially the bounce back factor after getting thumped the previous week by Bournemouth by 5-0.
Yeah. Chris Wood again, hat-trick. They're brilliant in forward positions. I mean, the way they flip it from defence to attack, and the energy that they have. Yeah, it's probably been a long week for them after what happened last weekend with them taking a battering. And what a way to bounce back! It's an incredible performance. I'll bet you there was a few people thinking, well, that's it. Well, have we seen the last of Forest with their great form this season? But what a way to shut people up if that was the case.
I mean, Chris Wood's season, it's absolutely sensational, isn't it? It's the first hat-trick scored by a Forest player at the City ground in the top flight since a certain Nigel Clough in 1987.
It's incredible. I heard you say that last night on Match of the Day when I was watching it, thinking, "Wow, it's just unbelievable." Yeah, really pleased for him because he's not showing any signs of slowing up. I thought his header for his first goal, I think it was brilliant. The way he controlled it was great.
It really was. As for Brighton, 2 wins in 12 now. They've really dipped in form, and that is a 7-0. I mean, that is a hugely demoralising loss, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. When those happen, I mean, they are very rare, but when they do happen, they damage you. It hurts. It hurts, and what it can
Hurts
do to hurts a lot. Yeah, hurts a lot. It can damage team spirit and morale and all of those things. And he's got to be wary of that. I know he's new to the league, so it's not an easy time for him. And he's got to steady the ship because questions will be asked. There's no doubt when you get battered like that.
Do you think, Alan, under those, you know what footballers are like when things are going wrong? And you've got players in that dressing room, 1 or 2 that are older than the manager.
Yeah.
You wonder whether there'll be little rumblings amongst the players going, he's so young, he's inexperienced. I don't know. I might be being very unfair there. I just know how footballers think.
That's why I say about it being a really dangerous when you get battered like that, how damaging it can be inside the dressing room. Because you're right. You know how a dressing room works. You all look around and perhaps you all blame each other, and they've got to be very careful that doesn't happen.
Did you watch the Liverpool-Bournemouth game?
Watch bits of it.
Bournemouth are good, weren't they?
Yeah, they were good. They were.
I know Liverpool found a way, and that's that sign of a team that's probably going to win the title. To get through that, it was a really tough test for them. But that man Salah again. I presume you saw the little graphic that I put up, Alan?
I did. So
players that have scored 20 plus goals in seasons. You topped that graphic once again with 7. Mo's now done it in 5. He's done it in 8 seasons. You did it in 14, which is still pretty good going.
I might have done a few more if it wasn't for my injuries as well, but there you go.
Yeah,
I'm quite happy with that. I was pleased you got my name at the top of a graphic again, but you did have a little dig, didn't you, saying that it was in 14 seasons?
Yeah, well, of course. I don't give you too much bloody credit, Al. I did it 5 times, Al.
5 times?
But I actually only played in 6 seasons, top flight football, and that was at a time when football didn't even exist. So,
It's bonkers though, isn't it? I mean, that is... It is crazy how it works. There's hardly any, if any, graphics are ever shown.
I know.
Pre-92, it's mad, isn't it?
It's just weird. It's like being wiped out of history. Completely wiped out of history. Anything that happened before 1992.
Yeah. It's crazy. Anyway, back to the game. I thought, what did they hit? They hit the woodwork a couple of times. Yeah. Bournemouth.
Clive, actually, who's been brilliant, missed a really great chance, didn't he?
Missed an absolute sitter, didn't he? Yeah. Wasn't sure it was would you think it was a penalty?
It's one of those, isn't it?
I know,
he did. I mean, there was a time when if 2 players are just running and one's just in front of the other, and then somehow he accidentally catches it. Obviously, there's zero intent. He was just trying to monitor him as he was going towards the byline. And his back leg did actually clip, the defender's front leg. Yeah. And that caused his 2 legs to go together, which caused him to fall down. So I think it's definitely one of those that if he hadn't have given a penalty, they wouldn't have overturned it. I understand why they gave it. And they do seem to give fouls, free kicks, penalties for those inadvertent flicks nowadays when it's completely unmeant. So I think it's a tough one. It's a really soft penalty, but I'd never really thought that VAR would turn it over once I saw that there was a little bit of contact that led to him tripping over his legs. But yeah, definitely a soft one. I don't think he should be getting penalties for that kind of thing.
I know that, yeah. What a big result. Big result for Liverpool, though. As you say, it could have, and with 1 or 2 chances or post or whatever they hit with Bournemouth. But Liverpool again, man. Just so finding enough and having that belief and ability. And the run that Bournemouth have been on, there were people thinking maybe, but great credit to Liverpool for another big win.
Salah set. I know the first one was a penalty. The second goal, what a beautiful finish that was, wasn't it?
So, I mean, he's so bloody good at that, isn't he? The way he just shifts that ball. It's one thing saying, well, don't let him come inside on that left foot, but the way he shifts it and moves it so quick, and then the accuracy that he gets. I mean, how many times have we seen him do that over the years? He's brilliant at it, isn't he?
So many times.
Yeah.
Many times. Even
so
though
difficult to
you
stop.
don't want to show him on the left foot, but he finds a way anyway.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And he loves the shot, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He wasn't going to give that opportunity, was he? Superb finish.
Yeah. Lovely guy as well. I'd spent 10 minutes with him when I went to Anfield to interview Arnie Slot. Had a good chat with him.
Did you not get it out of him whether he's staying or going or not? No,
I didn't know, but he did ask me. I think he was just being funny. He was just kidding because the Liverpool press guy was there. He said to me, "So how old were you when you finished?" I said, "Well, English football." I said I was 32 and I went to play in Japan for a couple of years. He went, "Oh, you went for the money, did you?" I said, "Well, yeah, I suppose so." And he went, "Yeah, might do the same."
You better stress he was only joking.
He winked at the press guy that was there, and it was just a joke. But yeah, he was just joking. But he has got that cheeky sense of humour as Mo. Big win for Wolves at the other end of the table. We'll shift to that very depressing area of the table where Leicester sits back in the bottom three.
Big win for Wolves, big win. Yeah, I mean Villa again on the back of a Champions League week, not getting the right result. The result going against them, so huge win for Wolves. Yeah,
and Cunha signed a new deal because there's a little bit of speculation and grumblings, weren't there, with the coach and him? But that's obviously been resolved because. I mean, he's a good player. Yeah,
I would guess it's got one or two clauses in. Whether you'd have to revisit that at the end of the season or not, with what he's got in there. But great news for Wolves over the next few months, because if they're going to start and climb the table, they need him to perform because he's a good player when he's at it.
Yeah, he really is. I suppose we've got to talk about Leicester. But let's pitch it on a positive note. Another former club of mine had a resounding victory by 4-0. Well, David Moyes though, wow,
brilliant, wow, amazing, isn't it? Yeah. He's more than turned them around. I mean, the you couldn't see them scoring hardly any goals, was it, before he got in there? So Calvert-Lewin was out injured, so he was forced into that change. And
Beto delivered.
Beto, yeah. It's worked. I mean, what are your mob doing after 10 seconds? From the long ball forward, it's like, really,
all the goals just went straight through the middle of the defence, and I've been saying it for a while that Vestergaard's a nice player on the ball, and he's a big lad, but he does struggle in the Premier League with pace, and it was all over after 6 minutes.
It was a him and Wout Faes yesterday, wasn't it? Sent in the back yesterday. I seen the goals, and I was thinking the same as what you've just said about how open they were right so through easy. The middle. It was like, oh my goodness.
It's a real worry. But
brilliant for Moisey though, for David Moyes. Really happy for him. He's a lovely guy, as we know. So he's doing a cracking job in there.
It's amazing, actually, the turnaround. You would actually say now, you think Everton are safe. I mean, they're not obviously mathematically or anything like that, but you string 3 wins together in those circumstances, and you fly up the table, and there's such a big gap between them and the bottom 3, the 3 promoted clubs from last season. I mean, can you really envisage any of those 3 clubs probably getting 15, 18 points from here on in?
No, I mean, that was also whilst we're on it, it was an awful result, wasn't it? I mean, Southampton are as good as down, so Ipswich at home to Southampton, you would think that would be a game that they would probably expect to get 3 points. But with Southampton going there and winning, that was a big kick for them. So yeah, it's going to be a tall order for those 3 to get out of it. So
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Really Everton's tough. next Premier League game, I should say, because obviously it's FA Cup next week.
Is it Liverpool? Is it right? Yeah,
at Goodison. Yeah,
the last one at Goodison.
The last one at Goodison. The last Merseyside derby at Goodison. They'd really want to upset their neighbours on that one, wouldn't they?
Just a bit. Absolutely, they will. Yeah,
it won't be easy though. That's for sure.
They'll have them organised, that's for sure. Moisey, it'd be tough for them.
Before we go for a break, Alan, perhaps a little bit of transfer news, speculation. I think Villa's perhaps the most interesting, with Asensio looking like he's coming in, and Marcus Rashford as well. That's the really fascinating one, isn't it? It's probably a good move hopefully for all at the moment. With
I hope so.
The ongoing thing with the press conferences with Amrim constantly being asked about Rashford, it was getting really difficult, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a real pivotal point now for Rashford, because he's not the only manager that's gone into Man United and thrown questions at Marcus Rashford. So I think it's best he gets out, and it's now up to him. And he's got the opportunity to get back to where he wants to be, to where he was years ago, and stop all the talk about whether he's got the right attitude, whether he wants it enough, whether he wants to play enough football. He's got the opportunity at a huge football club to go and do that now.
Ultimately, it's down to him, isn't it? He's got to really want it, and
when we're about to find out, aren't we? So he's been given another opportunity. He's had people criticise him. He thinks unfairly, but I don't think everyone can be wrong in terms of the managers that have had a pop. So he's now got the chance to get his career back on track.
I really hope he does. I think that he's got so much to offer. When he's at his best, he's had, obviously in the last 4 or 5 seasons, 2 of those seasons have been exceptional, and the other ones certainly less so. So he's been a bit streaky, but if he applies his mind, gets himself right, probably asks himself a few questions.
Yeah, that's what he needs to do. I mean, and Unai Emery won't carry any passengers, so we'll find out over the next few months whether Marcus wants it or not and wants to get his career back on track.
Okay, Alan, we'll pause now, and when we come back, hopefully we'll be joined by one Micah Richards. Welcome back to the Rest is Football with Alan Shearer and me, Gary Lineker. And yes, we have been joined by Big Meeks, Micah Richards. In your hotel now, you've been at the Emirates. Mm-hmm. So were you thrilled as an Arsenal fan, or are you gutted as an ambassador of Manchester City?
That is very poor. Gary, you are better than that. Certainly better than that.
All I'm doing is asking you a question, Micah. I'm not making a statement.
May I add, you'd need to think about your answer, because it could be a loss of financial situation for you here.
I'll say it once, and I'll say it again. Football is the winner, guys.
Well, it was a good game. And you were there. We watched it on the telly. It was an emphatic victory for Arsenal. I mean, they were really good. And I have to say, Manchester City, I mean, it's almost unfathomable what's happened. It's inexplicable in many ways.
What a word. Oh, Gary, you keep teasing me with these words. It's like a encyclopedia, aren't you?
I'm just flirting with you, Mike. I'm just flirting.
But anywho, to the game. So I get up this morning. I've got a good feeling. I think we're going to see 2 top teams going toe-to-toe, and it's going to be a brilliant game. Get their atmosphere a little bit nervy from Arsenal's point of view. Obviously, Man City got the big win against Brugge, or Bruges, however you want to pronounce it. I'm thinking, okay, let's see what Man City got. People keep asking me, are Man City back? And I'm quite reluctant to say they are, although they've had some really good results in the league, scoring a lot of goals. This was a big test for them today. The game started off cagey, as you would sort of expect. I think we've talked about Arsenal sort of going into that low block, sort of figuring out what Man City were going to do. But they did really well when they pressed, didn't they? When Man City tried to build up, Arsenal knew exactly where to be in terms of where they was going to show Man City and press the ball. So then, obviously, the goal happened from Man City's point of view. It's a bad mistake. John Stones, who now good he is on the ball, plays to Akanji, and he's got no options. And then they get the goal back with Haaland, which was an unbelievable header. Like, the timing, the jump, everything about it was quality. You hear the Man City fans at the stadium sort of roaring, thinking, okay, what have Man City got next? And Arsenal, all it did is push up. I can't believe Manchester City's midfield. For a midfield that has been so good over the past 4 years. Of course, they're missing Rodri. But Bernardo Silva, he's a fraction of the player that he has been in the past. Kovacic at times, I feel a little bit sorry for him because he's supposed to be the deep line midfielder and give him a little bit of protection. But the way Man City want to play, they want to press high and gather the ball back really quick. But the problem is they don't have the energy to get back. If they would miss it one or two, or maybe on the third time, they get the legs back and they'd get it back, or the defence would be really high. If you see the distance between defence and midfield, it is remarkable. Being at the game, you can see it a little bit more as well, because certain angles and whatnot, and nobody's engaging, no one's speaking to each other, no one, it's almost like, where's the structure of the team gone? And then when they concede one or two, the heads are falling. They've conceded 3 against Feyenoord after being 3-0 up. And I mentioned that today on Sky. Then the game against PSG, you're thinking, okay, 2-0 up in that game. Although it was quite fluky, you're thinking 2-0 up, you'll see it out. You end up conceding 4 goals. Arsenal, again, 5 goals. Do you remember the game at Brentford? 2-0 up. You're thinking the cruising. And then I don't know if it was a tactical thing, I don't know if it was an energy thing, but it's almost like it's too easy to play against Manchester City at this moment in time. There are big problems in the camp, and I think they need to look at themselves and thinking, what's happened? Because I feel like I'm repeating myself constantly week after week now, but yeah, we have to give credit to Arsenal as well. They exploited the deficiencies of Man City.
I think it feels like if the game's sort of one-paced and once a team sort of ups the ante and ups the pace of their game and sort of goes after City, they struggle to recover because they haven't got the legs in midfield. There's no way they've got the legs in midfield. They're easy to play through, and once they get through, I mean, at times they're defensively all over the place, aren't they?
All over the place. One thing I will say, what did City used to do better than any team? What did Pep's Barcelona teams used to do? Hold on to the ball.
They gave it away so many times today as well.
Exactly. So even, you can't be at your best all the time. And sometimes you are going to be a little bit leggy. And sometimes people are going to expose you and open up. That's football. But what they've been so great at is keeping the ball. And they kept giving away ball after ball. Foden, who's so good on the ball, gave away the ball 3 times within a 5-minute spell.
Less than that,
was
actually. About a minute.
It's hard to watch them at this moment.
Can you explain it? It's like they've been space jammed. If you have ever seen that movie where all these great basketball players like Michael Jordan, etc., are suddenly devoid of their powers anymore.
Correct. It's hard to explain. I think it's a catalogue of different things. I think Al mentioned it well as well, the tempo, but also you guys as strikers, as number 9s, right? And it's very hard to criticise Haaland because of the goals that he scores. And I do not want Haaland to be a Dennis Bergkamp, where he's coming in and doing lovely touches. But the size of him, sure, okay, he's up against Saliba and Gabriel. But if you look at, and especially the Newcastle game, what Isak did to them two and what Haaland did, it was chalk and cheese. I just want him to be a little bit more aggressive and use his size and his strength in the right way. He gave away the ball so many times today, and it's going up there, and then he can't get out. It's coming back. It's going up there, and yeah, it was frustrating to see. It really was.
In his defence, what I would say was even I sit and watch City at times, and they have been an unbelievable team. But when they get into so many forward positions with him, because he's an animal at attacking the ball, if you get the ball into the box, just like they did with that cross today, is that he will score even more goals. But there are so many times where there's an opportunity to put it in, but they go pass. They go around the other side. They go think, oh, they could put we'll come pass. And it's when you've got someone as dynamic as him who needs that service. I don't know why they don't put the ball in the box a lot more often than they did. I mean, he didn't touch it for. I heard that you guys on Sky say he didn't touch it for 30 odd minutes. I mean, imagine not touching the ball for. Yeah. I'm thinking. I do have it at times, and if it was me, and I have spoken to him about this before, and maybe, I don't know, 18 months ago, about when the ball doesn't come in, it's like it's frustrating as hell from a forward's point of view. And I know how good they are on the ball, or have been on the ball, certainly not so much this year, but they're passing and passing and passing, even when they get to the byline, go out through the other way, and instead of putting ball into the box. So from a forward's point of view, that for me would be really frustrating.
I'd love to know what's going through Pep Guardiola's mind at this point, whether he's been so successful for year after year after year after year, and then suddenly his team's imploded. It must be incredibly frustrating. I suspect he's looking at himself as well and thinking, right, how do I change this? How do I turn things around? I mean, he keeps saying all he wants really is the team that he had at the start of the season before he lost a few injuries. But, those players on that pitch are really, they're the top class players. I mean, exactly. I imagine it might be...
And they've just spent another 100-odd million in the transfer window.
Yeah. I mean, it might be season after season of success, and, they're playing so much football. A lot of the players might have just run out of energy for a while, tired, perhaps didn't have a proper pre-season. Who knows? But it is baffling. Yes, you can see them going, not doing quite as well as they've done in previous seasons. They were due an off-season, but the difference in the levels of their performance from year after year of brilliance to this is quite stark. However, I still think they'll stay up. I still
I jest.
Yes, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he turns it around. This is a real challenge for Pep. Probably a bigger challenge he's had for quite some considerable time. I would never back against him. That's for sure. But it will be fascinating to see what happens there. They've brought in the new players, obviously. Will that make much of a difference? We'll have to wait and see. But we must give credit to Arsenal, though. I mean, that's an emphatic victory. I thought they played really well. Lewis Skelly's goal, Nwaneri's goal as well. Two young prospects that are really exciting. I thought Havertz obviously missed that absolute glorious opportunity to score, but then followed it up with a really good finish, which I think would have done him the world of good. So, Arsenal have had a good few weeks, really.
I think it's a huge game for them today, a huge statement from them, particularly with what Liverpool did yesterday. And we'll say that so many times, I think, over the next 6, 7, 8 weeks, that one team will win and then the next one becomes even bigger. And that was Arsenal's game today. So for them to put a statement out in the way they did, I think was really impressive. And they were really good when they upped the tempo, when they got that second goal and they deflected from Partey. Once they got that and they upped the tempo, they were so much better. I
have to say, Alan, your man, Declan Rice today was sensational.
Yeah, exceptional.
Oh my word. And him in the number 8, his energy. And we mentioned before the game, obviously, the energy was going to be the talking point before the game, how Man City would potentially be able to deal with that. But the assist, the pass for Nwaneri, everything about him was just bang on. He's a number 8, isn't he? Not a number 6.
I agree. I think he's an 8. I mean, he's very, very good at running with the ball and bursting through the lines that way as well. I think he's an 8 as well.
And then you mentioned Lewis Skelly. Watching him live, I mean, he is ballsy, that lad. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you would have seen it on TV, but the back and forth going on between Haaland and Gabriel, which was entertaining to watch. But then Skelly scores a goal. And he does the Haaland celebration at 18 years of age.
And he did it for about a good minute. He sat there.
Didn't want to get up, did he?
No.
He didn't want to move.
Is he going to get up? Is he sleeping? What's going on? But in terms of the player that he is, and I think you asked the question, I think it was a couple of pods ago now, and I didn't sort of bite it off, but I want him to see him do it in a big game because I didn't want to put too much pressure on him.
Well, you've seen it now.
It's not just what he does defensively, or it's the fact that he gets, Alan's favourite word, in the pocket of space on the half turn and scores. And it was actually really interesting because Odegaard, I was saying before the game, he needs to do more. He needs to be between the lines. And he gets his goal by running on. But the fact that he was still going deep and then Lewis Skelly was going in there, we was all scratching our head thinking, why do you want Lewis Skelly in the middle of the pitch? I mean, he's good on the ball, but he's not really going to create something. Boy, were we wrong. He is a proper talent. And to be in the start 11 over Calafiori, wow.
Remember a few months ago when we were looking at the England situation, we were going, God, we've got no left backs now because Luke Shaw's injured and he's out of the thing. And now we might have a battle over the next few years of Lewis Skelly and Hall.
Lewis Hall,
yes.
Yeah. Two Lewises.
Two Lewis, yeah.
Pick your Lewis.
Micah, I didn't want to see that Arsenal result today when Newcastle faced them on Wednesday night.
Oh! Have you told the listeners and the viewers that we've got a friendly little bet going on?
Have you?
We've got a friendly little bet going on, yes. He said Newcastle. I said the mighty Arsenal.
Was this bet made prior to the first leg?
Correct.
Prior.
Oh, wow.
Correct.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling now, Alan?
2-0 up.
Do you want to cash out?
I said to Micah, I'm sure we'll end up giving it to charity anyway, but it's 500 quid.
Nice.
Will you take a cash out? I'll give you 75 quid now. Cash out.
Fuck off, 75 quid.
Yes, Al. Are you sure, Alan?
I'll take 495 now.
Oh, this could rebound on you though, Alan. This could.
I can't wait till it does.
I'm not cashing out 2-0 up. Are you mad?
Oh, wait till Lewis Skelly gets a hold of you.
If Newcastle get beat on Wednesday night and they don't get through to the final, I'm going missing.
There must have been, we'll finish in a second, but there must have been a great mood in the stadium towards the end.
Oh my gosh, I've got that song in it. Whatever the weather. Oh my God, it was bananas in the stadium. It was epic. And it was just, you got contrasting feelings, haven't you? Because my love for both teams. My love for, everyone knows it's out there.
Of course. You
guys have put it on. To see one team demolished like that, it wasn't a good feeling at all. But the atmosphere was great.
It was. Well, thanks for joining us, Micah. And after a long day in the studio, but let's call it a day there. We'll be back with our question and answer episode on Wednesday. But for now, that's it. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a great week, everyone.
Well, hey.